Today I'm in a rather remote section of the Ettrick Valley, and I'm on the trail of a notorious freebooter, ruffian, Border Reiver, who was known as Adam Scott. But Adam Scott had a nickname, and that nickname was the Prince of Thieves. But it wasn't only Scott's reputation as a cattle thief and rustler which preceded him. He had a fearful reputation as well because of the way he dispensed with his adversaries. At his tower called Tushielaw, somewhere in this area, Scott used to hang his enemies on the trees that surrounded the tower. Is there any evidence of the tower surviving in this area? I think this could be it. Right here. Wow, it's actually a lot more than I expected. Yeah, this is definitely it. The remains of Tushielaw Tower. Didn't think it'd be so much still standing. Let's get down there and have a look. Still see like a vaulted basement there which is surviving. There's tons of brick. I don't know why it's not all been pilfered for walls in the area. So yes, Scott lived here in the early 1500s, raiding cattle and anything else he could get his hands on from all the surrounding farmsteads and farm towns. Anyone who got in his way or disagreed with him was brought back here to Tushielaw Tower. And at Tushielaw here, anyone who got on Adam Scott's wrong side met a grisly end as they were hung from the trees that surrounded the tower, or one main tree which surrounded the tower. Now these trees that surround the tower, ruins this day and age, are far too young, but is there any evidence of the actual tree that Scott used to hang his victims on? Quite difficult to believe how much masonry survives on this site. Normally these old towers are completely raped for stone. The stone from the towers would be used to build the dikes in the area, but not here. It's all left on site, crumbling and falling, but it's still on site. Quite an amazing place. You can see here how nature is completely taking over. And this tree here is growing directly out of the stone wall. Amazing. There's evidence of far much more than just a tower on this site. You can still see at the bottom of this hill a large masonry enclosure or outbuilding, and lots of evidence of little buildings around the place. Adam Scott was clearly a very, very rich man, but where is the evidence of this huge tree that Scott used to hang his adversaries or his enemies? This large hollow on the ground here in front of this quarried area is where some historians and archaeologists believe an extremely large tree has been uprooted in the past. So for me, this is the site where Adam Scott used to hang the other Border Reivers. I wouldn't be surprised if hundreds of men have died right on this spot. But the good times couldn't last forever for Mr. Scott of Tushielaw. If you're going to live by the sword, as they say, you need to be prepared to die by the sword. Any knowledge of Scottish Borders history will know the story of Johnny Armstrong of Gilnockie and his treacherous death at the hands of King James V in 1530 at Carlin Rig. Well, James V's foray into the Scottish Borders to kill Johnny Armstrong that day was not his only stop. You see, James and his army of 8,000 men also had Adam Scott of Tushielaw right in their crosshairs. There are two versions of the story, but the ultimate outcome is the same. In the first version of the story, James and his men came here to Tushielaw and Scott was hung on his own tree for all the people of the Borders to see as a warning. And the second story, and probably the real version of events, is that Scott was ordered to be beheaded and he was carried directly to Edinburgh Market Square where he was beheaded in front of a large crowd, and documents exist to prove that that execution happened. But either way, James V came here and murdered or killed Adam Scott of Tushielaw. A scene of tranquility and peace and isolation. But in 1530, this was a place of death and violence. Even on a beautiful, calm, sunny day like today, the ghosts of Adam Scott and all the other men killed here at Tushielaw hang heavy in the air. You can feel it. King James V, he was only 17 years old in 1530, but he'd killed the Prince of Thieves here at Tushielaw. He'd killed the man often known as the King of the Borders, Johnny Armstrong, but he wasn't finished. And I suppose the Borderers weren't finished with James either. Keep an eye on Discover Scottish Borders, because this film is to be continued.